Alright, hello everyone, I'm Rebecca from the Glitch Stitchery. I'm here today with another Paintcast. So I mentioned last time that I was trying to set up multiple different palettes and that I was trying to pick the perfect colors for one of them. I think I mentioned that. I hope I mentioned that. So the tubes I ordered haven't come yet, but 4 of the cheaper palettes I bought to try out did arrive. So we're going to talk about those a little bit, as well as what my goals are for these different palettes. I'm actually going to have 3 total palettes going by the time I'm done. The third one I have not started yet, and I will explain why. So, my goal, ultimately, is to have one palette where all the colors in it are light fast and the majority are single pigment. And that one will be used for anything that I might give away. Like, so if they... Like, I'll do like postcard sized a lot, and then I'll like give them to a relative, and then if I visit that relative's house and they have it pinned to the fridge, I don't want it to just disappear off the postcard. So single pigment mostly, and then light fast definitely. That's what this palette is for. This one is the one that's just going to sit on my desk, and when I want to study or goof off or anything like that, this is going to be all the colors that I enjoy using but are not necessarily light fast. Some of them are, some of them aren't. It's just colors I like, so I don't really care. This one will be the largest palette, so it'll have the most colors in it. Yeah, that's about it for this one. It's a pretty big palette, and it has like a watercolor looking design on it. I spilled some opera pink on it, obviously, but I'm already reasonably happy with this assortment of colors. They're fun to use together, but I can swap them in and out as I want. And these particular little, my brain's not working. Pans. They're a weird size, the ones that I bought loose. They're just a little too tall to fit in some of the palettes. They don't really fit in this palette either, but they work okay. So yeah, that's all that one's for. And then eventually I'm going to have a third palette going that I have not started yet. It will be entirely shades of black and gray and neon. So it'll have a full set of opera colors from Paul Rubens and then other opera and neon based colors from other brands. I'm personally referring to that one either as the Tron palette or the Jellyfish palette, depending on my mood. But I haven't started that one because my opera colors haven't arrived yet for the most part, other than Schminke Opera Pink, and I think this one's the Schminke Brilliant Red Violet. Actually, that might be Rosa Opera Pink there. Anyway, so some of those are going to go in it, and I have a couple oranges that'll probably go in it that are fugitive but super, super bright, so they would work for that set. Alright, so like I said, the tubes have not arrived yet, but I did a lot of work relating to the tubes. But I think I'm going to talk about the new palettes I got first before we talk about that, because that is just a huge thing that relates to this palette specifically. So I had ordered 4 cheaper palettes. In the case of the Van Gogh palette, it was just because I wanted a larger assortment of their colors. I really like Van Gogh paint. And for the other 3, it was to try them out. I hadn't tried those 3 brands before. So we're just going to look through my swatches for those and talk about them a little bit. So this was the Van Gogh palette. So it's the Pinks and Violets 12 set. And I don't know, it's really interesting. I'm going to close this one up so I don't get paint all over my swatch book. So a lot of these are fugitive colors, so not good for permanency, but like the Madder Lake Deep PR264, that one's really nice. I like that one. I like their quinacridone rose and their rose, actually. I like both of those. Those are 2 different pigments. Love the PB55, which is the first time I'd actually seen the quinacridone purple blue and purple red. I had never found those before, so one of them did end up in this set, and the other one's in the other set. But most interestingly was the 2 dusk colors, because they're a mix of Mars Black and then, well, the PB19 is the in this case, permanent red violet, and then PV23 is dioxazine violet. So it's just, you know, Mars Black mixed with another color. It's really interesting to me. I love the granulation on it. So yeah, I loved this palette, and if you're not really concerned about light fastness and you just want a ton of pinks and purples, this is a lot of fun. I like this. I ended up putting all of the ones that I'm not using in this palette, I lined up here because they are just so much fun to use. So the next one was the Rosa Gallery 14 Botanical Pans. And I had never used Rosa Gallery before. They're out of Ukraine, but you can find them on Amazon and probably on Etsy as well. I didn't look there, but I'm pretty sure you can. So I went down and I labeled the colors that are light fast and useful to me. I didn't mark the blues, but all three of the blues ended up useful to me as well. Basically, I loved this palette. I mean, there's only 2 colors in it that I'm definitely not going to use, and that would be the Madder Red, because it is definitely not light fast, and the green, which is a Nitroso green, and that's also not light fast. It's not a bad green, I just have no reason to use it. So that one would be the PG8. So if you see PG8, you can avoid that. But the rest of the colors are amazing. I love these. I love the giant pans. Even the mixes are really cool. This cadmium orange, which is a mix of actual cadmium orange and then cadmium yellow, is just like the most electric color, and I absolutely adore it. It's one of my favorites. It's right here in my permanent palette. I like their Opera Rose, but it's a little bit pale for my preferences. The Schminke one's a little bit nicer. But yeah, I absolutely loved this. The paint behaved really nicely. I've been playing with it for a few days now. And I left my notebook in the other room. I'll grab it at the end, but I have been playing with it just in my book to see how it reacts to the other paints in my palette, see what it does. I will say I don't understand the 2 different yellows because they're both the same pigment. They're both PY35 or cadmium yellow. I did read once that when it says light, it means warm tones and dark means cool tones. I don't know if that's accurate or not, but in that case, the cadmium yellow light would mean warm cadmium yellow. And then cadmium lemon is just like a slightly paler one, I guess. But when I actually had them both in the same palette, they looked almost identical when I painted with them. So I ended up splitting them up. One of them's in here and one of them's in here. I think the cadmium yellow light is the one that's in here. So cadmium lemon is in the other palette. But yeah, love this. Love the paints. I want more of them. I'm gonna have to go through all of their colors and see if there's any specific colors I want. I mostly prefer single pigment colors, but some of their mixes are just really interesting. I wish the Madder Red was light fast because that one is a really nice red. It's just, I don't know, it's kind of a perfect red. Anyway, the next one was the White Nights Botanical set, and I don't want you to think that I bought them to compare the 2 of them together because that's not really fair to either brand. They're different. I have no issue with either brand personally in terms of the paint. I did really like these. They work really nicely. However, it was interesting to me how many of the colors were not light fast. So most of them were single pigment with the exception of sepia. But most of them were not light fast pigments. So another cadmium yellow, that one is fine. Ochre is fine. I love this orange, but it is not light fast. Geranium red is amazing, not light fast. PR 187, sort of light fast, but not really. The quinacridone violet, ultramarine, and the bright blue, which is just the phthalo blue, those are all light fast. I like those 3 quite a bit. The sepia is a mix of pigments, and some of them are light fast and some of them are not really light fast. PY3 is always not light fast. PR 122 is light fast. PG8 is the same 8. I mean the same green that's in the Rosa Gallery one, and that one's not light fast. All right, I did have a couple comments about them in general though. The first is that when I bought the set online, I was looking at the listing and I wrote down the 12 colors that were listed in the listing. So right to sepia. And then I get the set and I start swatching them and the colors are not the same. It threw me off because they took out the cadmium red light, emerald green, and May green and replaced them with lemon, quin rose, and PG8 green. Now, this isn't necessarily a bad thing because, well, I don't know about their cadmium red light, but in terms of their two greens, those are both mixed colors, and the colors they replaced them with are single pigment colors, which are more useful for mixing in the long run. And it's not that difficult to mix my own greens. I mostly do mix my own greens. I don't know, I just thought it was interesting. So the scratched off parts, those are the ones that I thought I was getting, and instead I got these three that I slapped on at the bottom. So I have them in here in the same order that they are on here, so I don't mess it up. So yeah, these are not bad colors. I just have other copies of them already in my palette, so when those run out, I'll start swapping some of these in. Specifically, this chunk here I really like, and I like the quin rose. I don't mind the yellow, but it's a little bit warmer than what I normally use. It's not bad. In terms of the fugitive colors, I might use them in my at-home palette in the future. They're not bad colors. I really love these three. They're just not light fast, so I don't want to put them in the permanent palette, obviously. I don't care about sepia. It's just a thing. I don't care about it. In terms of the palette itself, it's plastic. Kind of reminds me of the Cotman palettes, but not enough so I would say it's copied. It's just, you know, white plastic palettes kind of all look the same to me. I don't like white plastic palettes, so obviously this in the future will be moved into metal ones. I just haven't done it yet. So the final set is one that I was not originally planning on buying. It's really big. So what happened was I've been watching a lot of reviews of different palettes, and oh, who was that? I think it was the Frugal Crafter. I'll put links to all of the ones that I reference in the description, but she does a lot of reviews, and she had a review of this. It was in this container. So this is the Phoenix paint. So she and a few other YouTubers that I watched believe that Phoenix is making the Cotman watercolors now, or at least the Winsor Newton Cotman pan watercolors. And I mean, maybe they are, maybe they aren't, I don't know. They are very similar, but I really wanted the blue sparkly tin, so I bought it just for that, because it's really pretty. I like it. So I ended up with 48 half pans that I will probably never use. Well, I might use some of them. I'm gonna go over that in a minute. These probably are all the same colors as the Cotman ones, because I recognized quite a few of them as I was going through, but a lot of them are mixed colors, and I don't really care for most of those. And the ones that are not mixed colors, a lot of them are not light fast, like Scarlet Lake and Alizarin Crimson Hue. So I put hearts next to the ones that are light fast and that I might actually use. So I already know that I love the lemon yellow hue from Cotman, and this is the exact same pigment and behaves exactly the same way. This is the lemon yellow hue that I have in my palette that's from my Cotman set from like 5 years ago. This is the same color. The permanent rose, PB19. That's not a bad permanent rose, I like it. Rose Madder Hue, PR206. That one's not permanent, unfortunately, but it is nice. Purple Lake is really nice, PV19. So I could see myself using that one in the future. I already know that I love the mauve from Cotman, so I put a heart next to that one. It is the same color. I've already tested that one earlier in my swatch book from Cotman. Dioxazine Violet. I do like, this one's a little bit weak, but I might just not have dug in hard enough. I think I mixed up some of the swatches on the blues, so I'm gonna probably re-swatch those just to check. Of these, the only one I definitely would never use is the Verde Blue, which is, I did not list it correctly, but it was not, let's see if I can find it. Oh, this is Verde Blue is PB28, maybe they changed it. If it's just PB28, that's fine. Never mind. I could use any of the blues. They're all fine. I just have to figure out which ones I actually like the color of. Probably these two are nice. Although Winsor & Newton Cotman Ultramarine is usually, like, it's good in theory, but then when I'm actually painting with it, it's usually a little weak. So I use a different one. But the Prussian blue is useless. It will fade. I don't like Prussian blue. Anyway, other than the Prussian blue, all the blues are fine. Double check it. Yeah, they're all fine. I need to figure out which one it is that's PB15 plus PG7, because I would really like that mix if I could figure out which one it is. And I think I mixed them up. Alright. Yeah, like, some of these are... There's 48 colors in the Phoenix set. There's only 40 colors of common, so some of them are added colors, and most of the added colors are greens, weirdly enough. So... Permanent Green Light is a beautiful green, but PG7 plus PY1 is not going to be light fast. Anything with PY1 is not going to be light fast. I really liked I liked some of the colors back here. I like the Payne's Gray, and the Indigo and the Payne's Gray are the exact same pigments, but one is more blue and one is more gray. So that was cool. And most importantly, they had a PG36, which I had not had a copy of yet, so I was able to add it to my permanence palette. I had really wanted that color. I wish the leaf green was permanent, because it is beautiful, but again, PY1. Doesn't matter though, it's going to go in the neon palette I was talking about, so it will still get used. I know I'm kind of rambling, and I do apologize for that. There's a lot of colors in this set, and it's kind of hard to narrow down my focus at all. I'm pretty sure, well, I can't remember if PR101 is light fast or not. If it is, then I'll probably move the light red into my palette, because I like that one, and I don't have very many browns right now. I don't know. I have to look that one up. I have a brown on the way, but I don't have any in my palette at this moment. So yeah, that was the fourth set. I mostly just bought it for the palette, and now I have all of these Cotman adjacent paints. I have them organized in the same order that they are on this thing, right? Yeah, I think so. Let me think about that for a second. Actually, I think they're in the same order that they're on. Yeah, they're in the order of my swatches. So when I want the right color, I'm gonna have to count over. So what I'm doing if I take one out is I put an empty pan in there. It's just as a placeholder so that the others don't move and the count stays the same. There are a few colors out of that I'll be taking out for the neon palette. Probably cadmium orange hue and leaf green. And then a few of them will go in my palette that sits on my desk that doesn't have to be permanent, just because I like some of these colors. I do really like the Permanent Green Light too, even though it's not actually permanent. They shouldn't call it permanent if it's not permanent. Anyway, that's that. All right, so I had mentioned that I had tubes on the way, and I had wanted to talk about that a little bit, and it's related to the permanent palette. So what I did, and I have to pull up my other notebook for this because I did it in the other notebook, is I was trying to make a list of colors that I wanted that were permanent. So I think it's Kim Crick's website. I'll link to it below, but it has a pigment database with light fast test results and all that sort of stuff. And it also like groups together paints from different brands that use those pigments, but it's pretty extensive and very, very helpful. And I spent about an hour and a half going through every pigment in the database, and I made a list of ones that I could see myself using, as well as one mixed color that I wanted to buy. So that was this list. And then from there, I took this list and referenced it while going through all of the paints that I own at that point, and wrote down which ones I had that matched up to those colors, as well as which ones I needed to order. And then as I've been ordering them, I've been adding them in there. They've been ordered. So now I'm actually only down to 4 colors missing. Actually, I'm not sure that's that doesn't look accurate. Yeah, that's what I thought. I'm down to 3. I did order a PBK 11. I thought so. I think, oh no, it is 4. I wrote down the wrong black. I'm supposed to look for PBK 26. That's what it was. All right, so the tubes I have coming, I wrote out on the same paper as this book, but just out of a different book, the colors that I have coming, so that as they come, I can swatch them on here. And then these are just the 4 colors left that I want to buy. The fact that I've gotten it down to 4 colors is impressive to me. I am impressed with myself. No, seriously, I didn't think I'd actually be able to track them down that quickly. And obviously I ordered a lot of Payne's Gray because I have Van Gogh Payne's Gray and Cotman Payne's Gray and Daniel Smith Payne's Blue Gray, but I also just really love Payne's Gray. And for that neon palette, I want to have a lot of different shades of gray and black to offset all the neon, because that's just what that palette is going to be like. That's what I want it for. So these are the ones I have coming, and when those arrive, I will swatch them out, but they're coming in like 3 or 4 separate boxes because I ordered them from 2 different websites, and then the websites broke them up into multiple shipments for some reason. So it'll be a while before they all get here, I think. Especially since one particular craft website uses the slowest possible shipping. So yeah, that's that. And then after they come, I'll swatch them on this, and then I'll have an accurate list of the colors that I want to have in my palette at all times. This does not include the mixes. This is just the single pigment colors that are permanent that I like. Yeah, there are surprisingly few permanent pigment greens that I like. Obviously I can mix greens by mixing blue and yellow, but there was only 3 greens that I actually liked, and they were all more like blue greens. I mean, this one, PG50 Cobalt Titanate Green, I'm pretty sure that's a teal. I've not ordered that one yet, but I'm pretty sure that it's always listed as a teal. So I'm beginning to think I just don't actually like green that much. It is what it is, I guess. I am really excited for Mars Black though. That one I did order. And that one, if I mix it with anything else, it'll do this really cool separation thing, which is what I was talking about with the dusk colors from Van Gogh, that separation thing. So I just think that that's really cool. I am excited for that. I am excited to build my neon jellyfish palette, or Tron palette, depending on how you look at it. I am ending up with a lot of extra paint, which I guess is to be expected, but the hard part is like keeping track of all of it so that I don't forget which ones are which, because some of them are just like duplicates of colors I do like, and I will get to them as I run out of the first one. But I ended up making like this box, and I have them like sticky tacked to the bottom so that they don't move around, and they're organized-ish. Technically speaking, I should organize all of the Phoenix colors into here, but that would require a lot of writing, and I don't feel like doing it. So they get their own little boxes. And then I'll organize the tubes into boxes, and everything will be in little tiny boxes. Yeah, I'm losing it. Alright, what else was it that I wanted to talk about? I don't know. I feel like there was more. Once I add the other colors to this, I'm gonna have to make another swatch thingy, I guess, and reorganize this again. Probably gonna have it so all of the yellows and oranges are on the top, reds in the middle, because I have a lot of reds and pinks, purples and blues, and then move the greens to the bottom, and then keep like the browns and blacks with the greens, I guess. How many colors are being added to this, actually? That's a good question. That one's already in it. That one is already in it, I think. Maybe not. No, it's not. I will put a star next to the ones I have to do little things, little pans of. So I need to do a pan of this one, this one. Do I need to lamp black? I think so. No, I have one. I just haven't put it in yet because I haven't. Okay, I need Mars Black. Do I need that one? Maybe 16. Yeah, I need that one. And I have that one. And then I do want to do Pans of All the Paynes Gray, but they're not going in this palette. They're going in the other one. And I want the quinacridone gold. Yes, 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 and yes. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh wait, no, they're not all going in this palette. Back up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so I'm gonna have to add 9 half pans to this. There's definitely enough room. I'm not too worried about it. There's a whole row I haven't actually touched yet, so no issues there. And then there'll be 4 more added in the future after I track down those 4 colors. I don't know how long that'll take. Alright, I'm going to keep these with my swatch notebook so I don't lose them. I have to make swatches on them. There we go. Alright. These are the swatch cards that came with the White Nights watercolors, but obviously I haven't filled them out yet. I'm just gonna keep them with that. Alright. I mean, that is pretty much it. I wish I had more finished watercolor paintings to show you, but all of them are like half done right now. Because I keep bringing them with me places and then painting while I'm waiting for people who are in appointments and stuff. So I'll be sitting in the car painting, which is fine. But then like I'll put it up to dry, and then by the time it's dry, the other person gets back, and then I just forget to finish them. So I don't have very much finished. I did get this new little wet bag that like perfectly fits this palette. I have a spray bottle for it. Water brushes. I pretty much exclusively paint with water brushes when I'm in the car. It's just much easier. I have a little refilly thing. I don't know, I like it. So yeah, that is about it for the watercolor thing at this point in time. Like I said, I have more colors coming, so yeah, I guess I could start moving the colors around at some point and getting ready for that. But then I'd have to make another sheet, and I don't feel like doing it because I am lazy. So that is that. Thank you so much for watching. I know this was very rambly. Hopefully, as I do more of these, they will make more sense. But thanks again so much for watching, and I hope to see y'all again soon.